Also, as I say, originally, religion or research in research or whatever, there was no meaning for the word science. Originally, science didn't really exist. Science was maybe um, make believe or something like that. There was religion. Religious documents were uh, regarded as historic and the truth, basically, the best, most accurate truth. But once I saw the Bible and everything else like that, well, basically, yeah, something had happened to religion, so we needed a better way because religion had been compromised, basically. So we created scientific, basically, which would be accurate, reproducible um, things, because there's a lot of things written down in religious texts and religious stuff that was very much inaccurate and basically make believe. But at first, the religious documents or the scrolls and also books were basically factual and basically just described things. They found some things in India and in some other places with the old religious documents or the old religion books or the old books basically in there, basically described scientific things that could be done, that would be done, and that's what religion was basically accurate record keeping and accurate scientific things that were reproducible and able to be built. And that's what the religious people did, basically. I mean, the first nurses were called or were the nuns or the religious orders, and also the priests, also were basically like, well, the doctors were the women, and the men were the nurses, because women always knew more because they had more time to read and to basically study than the men did because they spent time being pregnant and all that other stuff. So they generally knew more than men and also could read. So or had more time to practice creating and sewing and other things like that. Also, anyway though, and that's why also in school I always wanted to have a sewing thing and some other things, and I also dictated how the schools would be run, and I also created the first cigarette tax or whatever else like that, nicotine tax, because to help with the school funding and all that other stuff, because I wanted to do free schooling or public schools, and that's a very big issue that was in Germany. Well, originally it was only for military or people that signed up to be part of the government or the military would be educated for free, because they had to, I had to pay for it and everything else like that. It took food to feed people and stuff like that. But then later on, wanting to do a public education system and even transportation for the public education system, so we could do more with less as the population grew. So anyway, that was all like Lucifer Star, me, Brian, basically the leader of America and first president or whatever, even though it's not in record that I was, but I am. But I'm also the creator of life forms, so it gets very, and the creator of the stars, for which they are named after me. So, because I started them and there was proof at some point in time, and I was verified by other planets and other races, and even the human race at some point in time, as being the creator of the human race and 12 other. So they found my life forms. I said that there were 1.5-foot tall life forms that were real and actually existed, and they found the mummies for them and stuff like that. And there are also exoskeletons that were also quite intelligent as well, but like I say, it's 100 trillion years over the vast quantities of 100 trillion years, I existed. So, anyway, until some point in time. Anyway, though, but yeah, creating a public education system that was free for black and white and anyone, in fact, including what a German, Russian, it didn't really matter. I mean, I didn't distinguish or discriminate in any way, because, I mean, I'm the creator of basically endoskeleton life forms and basically the builder of the stars. So there's no reason for me to want to discriminate. Also creating like asylums or whatever, safe places for people to be, and also like better respectable jails where you're treated with respect and normal, just locked up basically. All that stuff was basically Lucifer Star, me, basically the namer of America and creator of buildings and everything else like that. So anyway, it gets all complicated and confused after a while. But basically, the person who built and turned the Washington D.C. into a 24-hour factory making DC motors, and also trying to create the first and better motors, as well as the best batteries ever, basically. And though they were just lead acid, but also trying to create other better batteries, the new methyl halide or whatever, basically better batteries, for things. Also the first night vision scopes and all that other stuff, being able to see in the dark, and TVs and cameras and stuff like that. So anyway, whatever. It gets all complicated and everything else like that, but basically that's how it was. And also, like, funding people in Germany to, build better new places, and also providing new homes for vast quantities of children and people. So, and also finding better construction ways, and even the best, most well thought out cities and stuff like that. So it gets all complicated and big and in depth, basically, with who Lusifer Star was and what was actually happening at Auschwitz and the other research sites. They were research sites. They were concentrating camps, not concentration or death or work camps. We were just tattooing people to find out, so we could accurately, because you take an ID off someone, who is that person? But with a number code, we could always track down who that person was. And if they had gone through Auschwitz or whatever, we could just look up who that person was and know who that person is by the tattoo. Unless they cut off the skin, of course. But, generally that doesn't happen. So anyway, trying to ID people, later on fingerprints and all that.